Have you ever tried to carry a grudge? I mean, really carry one. Our story today is about a woman named Ella who was very good at it. Ella was by all accounts a delight. She had a smile that could make a grumpy cat purr. But she had one tiny flaw. Well, two. First, she was accident prone. If there was a single uneven pavement slab in the whole city, Ella would find it with her toe. Her second flaw was a world-class talent for holding a grudge. Someone took her parking spot? Grudge. Barista got her coffee order wrong? Grudge. Her neighbor's dog looked at her funny? Major lifelong grudge. One Tuesday, after a particularly clumsy stumble over absolutely nothing, Ella found a small dusty glass jar on her doorstep. No note, just an empty jar, but the lid was screwed on tight. It was frankly a very nice jar. Perfect for my buttons, Ella thought. But she didn't collect buttons. Then she had a better, stranger idea. She unscrewed the lid, took a deep breath, and whispered into the jar. I'm still annoyed that Cynthia didn't invite me to her barbecue back in 2019. She then quickly screwed the lid back on. A faint silvery mist swirled inside the jar for a second, then vanished. And so, the grudge jar became her new hobby. Instead of just thinking about an annoyance, she'd voice it into the jar. A man who cut me in line at the supermarket, whoosh into the jar. A friend who forgot to pay me back that $5, whoosh into the jar. It felt great. She was tidying up her mind. She was practically a guru. But she noticed something odd. The empty jar was getting heavier. Not a lot, just a bit. Like it was full of tiny invisible rocks. Weeks passed. The jar was now quite heavy. Ella, being her charmingly clumsy self, one day went to move it and oops, fumbled it. The jar didn't break, but the lid popped right off, and out it all came. Not smoke, but the feeling of every single grudge. A wave of hot annoyance from the parking spot incident, a cloud of chilly resentment from the 2019 barbecue, a drizzle of petty irritation about the $5. It all washed over Ella at once. She wasn't angry at anyone in particular. She was just angry and weighed down. She felt so heavy and clumsy that she immediately tripped over her own rug and landed on the sofa. As she sat there buried under the invisible weight of her own collected grudges, she had a revelation. It wasn't funny anymore. This jar wasn't storing her anger. It was just letting her save it up for one really bad day. The lesson wasn't in the magic jar. The lesson was in letting go. So Ella did something radical. She picked up the now light jar. She walked to her back garden. And instead of putting a grudge in, she held the jar up and said, I'm letting the barbecue thing go. It probably had bad hot dogs anyway. She felt a tiny invisible weight lift from her shoulders. She didn't stop being clumsy. The next day she walked into a glass door. But she did stop collecting grudges. The jar? She found a better use for it. It now holds actual buttons and a few loose candies. Because Ella learned that anger and grudges are like invisible weights. The more you carry, the clumsier you become at living your life. You don't need a magic jar to put them in. You just need to decide every now and then to put them down. Sometimes the greatest strength isn't in holding on, but in letting go. Thanks for watching.